those past matchups, Des, it would be remiss of us not to mention that last time around in Stage 2, as you say, we saw them on this very map. BDS won 7-4, came out with a 3-3 half when they started on the attack, and then went 4-1 on the defense to really put the final nail in the game against Wolves. So BDS coming out this time on the opposite side to start with, but we're super strong on the defense last time around. They're going to be looking to repeat that success, I would imagine. Now, Thatcher, Maverick as our initial bans, nothing to surprise us there.
You know what I love, by the way, Tim? The sheer fact that you're not here means I can use your side of the casting desk for like my water bottle, for my laptop to be open on.
Bottle of water?
My bottle of water is on the left-hand side. It's actually on your chair, and then my laptop is over where you'd normally cast from. So if you want to stay at home forever, that is totally okay with me.
If it's okay, would rather not. We'll fix the old ticker. We'll fix the old Heartaroo and hopefully get moving again. I'll go for that option if it's all right.
I got to ask, I don't mind me asking you in a public setting as well. How have things been going? I actually haven't asked you this week. I felt really bad when I realised earlier I haven't properly spoken to you since our last cast together on Wednesday. How are things? Hopefully good news?
Things are moving quickly, at least. That was probably the best news.
That's such a political answer. I love it.
Yeah, things aren't bad. We spoke about the fact I'd had a stroke. I've also I did mention on social. I know not everybody follows me. I did get diagnosed last week with having a hole in my heart as well, which isn't necessarily as serious as it sounds. But so we're looking into that at the minute as well. But everything's as good as it can be. I've got a scan tomorrow, and we move. We just keep going.
Big heart, little problems I'm hoping for, mate. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, that's the way.
Now, last week, from what I understand, there was a big challenge on Twitter. There was well, not really a challenge, but the EU Twitter account, Bart, we see what you're up to, put a meme out about the reactions of all the casters whilst trying to say the name of the player in the top right corner of your screen. How do you say it, Tim?
Leakifak.
Exactly, Leakifak. I've got a great one planned. If he goes big at some point in this game, I've got a wicked line to drop on you. It's not a very, I'm
looking forward to it.
Pre-watershed
And I think we know
line.
that he's almost certainly going to go big at some point. So.
I mean, with a 150 plus EPS last week, it's absolutely expected. Here we go, though. Let's see how things shape up. It's Wolves starting out on the attacking side of things, in case you missed that one. The bans did indeed finish out with the Maverick also being banned away, alongside Wamai and Valkyrie on top of the Thatcher. In this first round, you can see the lineups on your left-hand side of your screen. We are seeing at least those 4 nades coming on side. Shinka starting off the killing onto the man we would have picked it up. Leakifak, the first to fall in this fixture.
Well, your line's going to have to wait at least another round as the man himself has been taken down. Good start for Wolves. It's exactly what they needed, to be honest. As I said, BDS last time absolutely dominating the defence of Clubhouse back in Stage 2. 4-1 in the second half of the matchup that we saw. So very little that Wolves could get going on the attack. So to come in with a big opener there, especially against a player like Leakifak, is no doubt going to put them on the front foot, both mentally as well as physically. Now, Shako in exactly the position we would expect to see him. He's going to be down there. He's not using the Mark 14. He's going to be on the Roni instead. So fascinating one to watch. Not always the easiest gun to work with. Very small mag size, especially for a position like Blue, where he could be getting pushed heavily from a number of directions at once. So that's definitely going to be a flashpoint to keep an eye on.
All right then. At least for this point in, we've basically gone direct, not towards the site, but at least around site. The whole hallway being smashed completely to pieces. C4 in hand for Breeder. You know exactly what he's looking for. He's wanting to go fishing, calling the fisherman because he's going in big, but just about misses the man. It wasn't Breeder, it was a Lems, but just about managing to sprint away from that one. Will keep everyone on the side of Wolves intact.
Raj just managing to keep himself on the map still. He is low health though, so going to have to be careful, particularly if he wants to start opening that kitchen up. Elems, he's going to just be watching that tight angle there up through the hatch, just hoping to catch somebody. Another one with Roni in hand. 2 players on the defensive side with those small magazines. We'll see how that goes in the final 20 seconds, because I'm expecting one of those late round bloodbaths here in Church and Arsenal.
Well, it looks like that's the way it's going to boil down. You know, Wolves for probably the last 90 seconds have been circling around, thinking about a drop, thinking about an execute. We know they're so good at dropping as a team and making things happen, but something just doesn't feel quite as right as maybe as it would have done previously, Tim, even with this numbers advantage. We're into the last 15. A freebie naked onto Lem, surely, but no, steps away and steps back into the same spot. Bibu's on the drop down, Rise walking his way forwards, but surely from here they can hold things down. They find the kills they need. There's one left standing, and Wolves, they do it time and time and time again. It looks like they've got no time left, yet somehow they drop in sight and everyone dies. How strange.
Absolutely textbook Wolves take at the end there, as you said, just spending 30-40 seconds in the mid to late round, getting themselves into position, and then all they need is 10 seconds to get the job done because of the work that they've put in, because of the foundations that are already there. So going pretty big at the end of things there. BDS, they're going to be going down to Church and Arsenal again. They're going to double down in this position. But interestingly, if you remember, and picked up last time that they're, and I'm not saying this was any sort of contribution really, because Eleventh and Shaiko just got gunned down as soon as Wolves dropped into blue. There wasn't really a chance for the gunfight, but both of the Ronies have gone. Mozzie and Aruni both off the board this time, with Warden and Jaeger coming along instead.
Small changes, but something you're hoping is going to have a pretty significant impact here. More towards that denial side, with the cat can not being the choice out for Leakyfac, as you say. And on the attacking side, equally a couple of changes maybe coming in here as well, by the looks of it, Tim. Looking at things like the Capitao, the Lion, the DKB, they want to shut down any potential roam game coming out of the other side. Not really a bad thing, given we're seeing the Legion, we're seeing the Jaeger, the Bandit. You know, once Bandit's got those batteries down, he can afford just to get off site and try and cause a little bit of trouble. Eleventh, you'd imagine, might be at least a little bit more static because you're needed in the closing part of the round.
Eleventh, I think, you know, it basically speaks towards Wolves using that throne utility to get themselves established in blue. Flashbangs going in, just clearing those operators out of those positions and putting them on the back foot for the fight, where that shouldn't be the case this time around. Between the Jaeger and the Warden, they should be able to hold down blue. The question is, are Wolves going to be pushing in the same direction? The drone at the top of Adam would suggest that they might do, but if I know Wolves, they'll be paying some attention elsewhere as well. They often don't try to just rinse and repeat the same things. They have a number of options, all very well coordinated, all very team-based, but you know that they're not just going to play into a problem.
Absolutely. Again, starting from this top-down side of things for Wolves. Last time around, it was less of a full map clear. I think the drones did that for them on the top floor, but then put all their focus around kitchen and kitchen hallway. Here, it does look to be more of a full-on top-down clear, making use of the DKB phone calls coming out, the drone work from the team, no doubt, as well. But they feel they've done their due diligence here, and shock horror, most of BDS are back on site inside 60 seconds.
Good work from Wolves. Plenty of time for them to work with. Hopefully this time for them at least, they're not going to be pushing into sight so late on, and it might just give them a few options when they do get to that final stage. At the minute, they're just sort of probing and prodding. They're having a look at main stairs. They're opening up the kitchen hatches. They're going to be, looking at getting those vertical angles for the time being. There's a bit of movement around blue as well. The only angle they're not really working, not really softening up at the minute is Dirt Tunnel. So BDS at least know that they're going to be able to keep their feet planted in the Dirt Tunnel and try to hold on from there. Everywhere else is likely to see a challenge.
I think the big thing for me is that, I spoke about BDS. Nice C4 coming out from Leakyfac to get himself involved for the first time. Onto the sledgehammer of Rise. Down he falls early on. I say early on, we were on those last 60 seconds, but for Wolves, that feels like it's quite early on, given everything tends to happen in the last 20. BDS historically have been the team that I've said you don't really know what their roam game looks like because they're not a big roaming team, and here Wolves are being given a lot of time. They've already made the drop in here. They're going for the full plant. I don't think they're even aware at this point, as Eleventh isn't in a spot to be able to deny this one right now. P4's going to stick this one. Shaiko will get the angle. Fall too easy, though, as he does fall down to Mowgli. 2 quick kills coming through, and now BDS have got to hold on, but Wolves have found 3. It's a 3v2. Leakyfac strike backs for one more, but it's still a 2 versus 2.
2 versus 2 with the diffuser on the ground, so you'd have to call it advantage BDS at the minute. Bibu super low health. This is really up to Shinka to get something going. 9 seconds left. Moves in, gets one. Can he get that diffuser in hand? He manages to put some shots onto Dirt. Bibu can cover this. This is a real opportunity now. Really great play from Shinka to create this. Playday shut down as he moves in. Bibu with the final kill, and that was Shinka who carved that opportunity.
And it's just the disruption that Wolves cause in that kind of mad drop and then find 3 or 4 kills and completely change the shape of the site. Yeah, it was a 2 versus 2. But for BDS, fundamentally, their 2 players could not have been further apart. One inside of Dirt, one behind Triple Wall inside a Bar and Church. They couldn't support each other, but the attackers were stacking up, as you saw. The drop came in, the plant going down, Bibit with the watch on towards Dirt. They'd already managed to find a free down onto Leakyfac, who was watching the wrong direction. Just, again, in the madness of the moment, BDS could not keep track of all those players. They couldn't find themselves in strong positions to play as a pairing, and Wolves capitalised on that incredibly well, just showing that the reason why this playstyle that Rogue have employed is so good at sowing seeds of chaos in enemy ranks.
Well, Wolves fans could not be happier at this point in time, I would imagine, with how differently things are going to the last time these 2 teams met back in Stage 2 on Clubhouse, where Team BDS, they had a 4-1 half. It didn't even manage to get to the end of the half because they'd won the game at that point. 4-1 they were on defence. This time, it doesn't look like they can buy around at the minute. Wolves in complete command of those first 2. Really well played. You sort of felt like BDS in a 3v3 might be able to get it over the line, but Shinka, as I say, a great understanding of that 15 seconds left on the clock and exactly what he could do with it, going in and getting the kill that they needed. It didn't matter about Dirt, so long as he survived getting back underneath that hatch and getting the diffuser, Bibu could do the rest, and it was well played from Wolves. Into round 3 we go then, and this time BDS, they choose to move on. They're going to be up on the top floor, gym and bedroom this time. Shaiko out on the east side. He's going to face a challenge fairly quickly, I would imagine, as Bibu's already in position on the thermite. He's going to be opening the wall open. That's going to force Shaiko to relocate. Oh, he takes a lot of damage as he tries to get aggressive, but Leakyfac is in there for the opener onto Mowgli. That's 2 in a row now.
Chasing one man and being shot by another. Really good bit of team play there coming out of BDS, and although it's kind of nearish to the site, it's that extended hold coming out there. I like they were willing to play so aggressive. I commented last round about how BDS aren't really regarded as a big roam team. Would have called this a roam? Not really. It's more of an extended hold, but they're still getting out on the map and looking to challenge the attackers for every single inch of it. As it stands, they have that 1 entry. That in itself is already a big achievement, but now they've got to worry about trying to clear out these players at the top of red. And it's Leakyfax out at the top. Swings with that storm, trying to find one, but now it's to back away as nades come flying through. Flashbangs, frags, you name it. And Rise sees the man, gets it through a gap, gets the second as well. A critical small error there in the placement of the Azami Kiba barrier. Nets Wolves 2 kills.
BDS did so much right there, but like you say, Des, it's those small mistakes, those fine margins that will let a team like Wolves in. They are like water sometimes, Des. If there's a crack there, they will find it and they will exploit it. And that is exactly what Rise did there beautifully. Now then, Bibu, he's going to be looking to get that jacuzzi wall open. That forces Breeder just to have a little shuffle around inside of the bathroom. But it's worth mentioning at this point as well that Shaiko is on very low health. A breath away from death on the Aruni, so needs to be careful because all it's going to take is one shot from anything to take him out of the fight as well and effectively leave BDS in a 4v2. But for the time being, he keeps himself alive. They have the opportunity now to start working the windows. Rise is going to start with construction and then likely move his way along once they're sure that they've got control over that area. And then BDS, 30 seconds, they just need to hold on.
They do. We said there so many times, it doesn't matter if you get to those last 30 seconds for Wolves, you may as well have 10 minutes left on the clock. Shaiko finds one, but Rise straight in for a trade. He hits a 3k in the round with that silencer. They found the kills they need. There's one left, and Rise hits the 4k in the round. Wolves running away with it in this rematch.
Really looking that way, isn't it? Rise going absolutely huge again so far today. We've seen this from him time after time after time. Basically, ever since the first match of Stage 2, if you remember, Des, there was a lot of talk after it because Rise, he had 0 kills. He had what looked like a tough day, but, you know, in further review after the game, it was clear that he'd just been doing a lot of work for his team on the drones. He hadn't really been focusing on the gunfights. But I tell you what, it feels like every match since he has been out to prove a point. 6-1. Point proven, Rise. Point proven.
Whew. I remember he had a terrible, torrid first time at the start of last stage. Remember his first game? 0
yeah, just it was awful. Like, 0 kills. It was a tough day for it.
Just reigniting that memory, I was just like, God, And then you see exactly how he transformed things around and was one of the best players at the stage. Didn't quite snag away the MVP title in the end, but you could definitely say it wasn't too far off. But for BDS here, they've really got to slam the brakes on. And the thing is, the way they slam the brakes on, in my opinion, against teams that do super well in the executes, and we keep on saying this about attacker repick as well, is you've got to be disruptive in the early round. You've got to remove one or two players. And you know what? If you go 1 for 1, okay, you've taken some frags off the board. You've got rid of crucial execute base utility. You've done your team a favor because your utility has already been deployed. You've already helped the team out with a setup, for example. You've done all the right stuff. But outside of an extended hold there, I haven't really seen BDS committing too hard to that roam and trying to play disruptive. Equally, and I will completely understand this, that's not the easiest thing to do, especially when you've seen the attackers bring in things like Lion and DKB. DKB has now been present in every single round. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's not easy to work your way through, but they've got to get something in this half. You don't want to be staring down the barrel of a 6-0 half once the side swap.
We're going to be moving then to bar and stage this time around, which it always makes me question a defensive side. You've got no rounds on the board and you go into bar and stage. It's not the worst side. We're certainly seeing more teams going there, but it's by far and away not the easiest side to hold on to either. So if things are not going well, it's one that I would always question the choice of. It's a side that you feel like you need a little bit of confidence to go into. Now, BDS, they're going to be trying to hold on to the top floor again, similar locations the last time around. It's going to be particularly master bedroom and construction. You can see they've got a presence in bathroom as well. They want to hold on to that side of the top floor because it's going to prevent the plant spots being available to Wolves to be able to go in and put that diffuser down on the ground. Wolves, they only really need construction if they want to just try and throw the diffuser down. You go in through stage and get it put down next to the speakers, but it looks like they might just be looking for a little bit more than that. Playday opening us up, but a couple of quick trades coming in here. Leave Wolves on top once again.
And again, comms are just going to be an absolute chaos. You're all being called by DKB, so Wolves have got extra information. You're trying to respond to kills coming through, but just can't do it. And time again, it just seems to be biting them back. Playday's found himself on the deck here. I'm sure Eleventh is lined up to be able to get a freebie when this drop comes in from Rise, I want to say. Has worked his way across, but might get himself tagged down here. It's Leak Fat to find one, traded out straight after, and Eleventh finds his man. But he has no control of sight. Hits a naughty shot, though. 2 kills in this round is what keeps them going. It's a 3K clutch coming out from Eleventh. The first 3 that he has found in the entire map, but it gives BDS that sorely needed first round.
I've got to ask questions of Wolves there.
Yeah.
You've just fed Elems 3 kills. What's going on? You know, in the 3v1, it was all going very quick. Elems picks up a kill. It's a 2v1 all of a sudden. Okay. I'm sort of questioning it around the 2v1, but that 1v1, Iana coming in there like... Go down, you know, think about your diffuser, think about sight. You know there's only one man left. You know he's in logistics. You know where he's got to come from. Start playing in towards sight. Surely wait for that rotation to come through from him. Try and, you know, play the game a little bit. I know that the challenge is right there to be had. I think, if I'm honest, it feels like a little bit of a rush of blood there, Des. You're 3-0 up. You know, the comms are going mad. It's been a crazy round. I'm going in for this gunfight. Confidence is carrying me. I'm going to go and take him down. And I just feel like that might not have been the right choice there. Easy with hindsight, of course, but you've fed him 3 kills there.
The thing is, I bet no one recognises this more than Wolves themselves as well. They know what's happening at the end of that round. Is okay, we got a bit excited. We wanted the closing kill. We were confident we could get it. We could have won without having to go and take a gunfight, as they've already proved throughout this game. So I think here they'll calm down a little bit and you won't see that kind of mistake again. The one thing I will say for Elems there, 1, it's great he's got himself in the game finally. 2nd, for BDS, it was a hero play. And for probably the last 2 years, I've always said, if teams are relying on hero plays to win rounds, and a hero play is generally where one player gets a 3K or a 4K, it's a little bit concerning, especially when it's a clutch. You can't count on that to happen twice, because that was Wolves' mistake rather than your excellent play. However, this is a great start because Shaiko has found Mowgli.
Well, this is the problem now for Wolves potentially. You know, you've got a situation there where Elems has got his first 3 kills of the game. It really wakes him up. He's got a big clutch, and then Shaiko comes in of the game. And no, I didn't drop the from there. It's just that I say, we've been over this before, Des. I just say it quickly and you can't hear it, but it is in there. I assure you it is in there.
I'm going mad, I swear.
It's just very quick.
You're driving mad.
You gotta listen more, Des. You gotta sharpen up the old
Do it again,
ear.
I'll actually listen this time then.
What did I say?
What did you say?
First 3 kills of the game. There you go.
I actually did this time. Okay, I heard it that time. Okay, say it one more time.
I said it every time. First 3 kills of the game.
I heard it that time.
It's just fast.
That
It's
time
because of my accent. But anyway, you know, Lems gets that. Shaiko comes in with a big opener onto Mowgli, takes knock off the board, powerful operator as we know, and then all of a sudden BDS, they've got a bit of momentum now, Des. Lems comes in with his 4th kill of the game, takes Bibu down, manages to find him with the headshot, and all of a sudden BDS are now holding onto a site that they've struggled to hold on to twice already in this game. So this is just potentially a good example how, you know, we don't even need to go as far as criticising Wolves and saying that it's a mistake, but how those small moments can really start to turn the momentum of things.
Definitely. And look at the key thing they've done. They've got off site. They've been aggressive. They've looked to challenge Wolves in the early round, which is what has been missing from before their timeout, in my opinion. So Wolves here have been bitten a little bit on the backside whilst trying to get themselves set up for an execute. BDS have done what they're meant to do. They've got a 5 versus 3. They've all dropped back down to site. That is the kind of stuff that you want to be seeing more from BDS that we haven't really seen for the last 12 months or so, I'd wager. I always used to joke the only time you know they were roaming on this map was when you'd have a Lems playing the Valkyrie, because that was when you'd see a couple of cameras off site, and that would be about as crazy as it got, I guess. Drops coming in for a plant, though. We saw what happened here last time. We had Shaiko step on through. C4 is great, but it's shot out just in time by Rise, who I think is going to try and stick this one again. But now with this control of the hatch, is it enough? Another C4 comes over, but he can't shoot that one out. Playday finds the kill. P4 goes to the drop as well. It's a 2K for Shaiko. Shinka, the last one left standing. It's going to be a flawless round for BDS, and it feels like finally they might have woken up into this game.
Well, this is it. All of a sudden, you've got a big clutch from Lems. You've got a flawless round on defense following it. And Wolves are reeling a little bit right now. BDS could lock out a 3-3 half here, which will feel like a little bit of a steal for them after those first 3 rounds, because it was certainly a lot more difficult than the last 2. So last attacking round for Wolves now before they move on to the defense. But interestingly, we are in a position here, Des, where we could see a mirror image of the Stage 2 game, where
They're called mirror windows,
that one,
Tim.
No. In that one, it was Wolves that started on the defence, but it was 3-3 at the half, and then BDS, when they moved on to the defence, were able to close things out 7-4 overall. So it's one to watch, one for the statisticians out there who like the numbers. If this one goes 3-3 and Wolves come back and then win 7-4, we'll have an exact reverse.
It's funny you say that. I was looking back at the stats of the game earlier and clocked those 3-3 halves that the 3-3 half that we saw back in the first. It's about the side swap that's going to be interesting to me. Exactly how, you know, Wolves, when I think of Wolves, I think phenomenal attacking team. Very aggressive, very fast, team-based executes, and teams struggle under the pressure. I don't think of them and their defenses when we talk about them, and that maybe is not a sign that they're terrible at defenses, but they're not stand out in the same way their attacks are. So really it's going to come down to how well BDS can attack, and also how good can Wolves' defense be. I think like Fresh said earlier on, it's a game that gets defined in the second half. He didn't say it about this game, but I think it's a point that carries across.
Ooh, Mowgli's crept in here. He's not taken the barricade out completely. It reduces a lot of the sound of that barricade being taken down. So he's going to try to creep his way. Is he going up? Is he going down? I think he's going to be going up into master bedroom, but Breeday's there, Des. He's watching. He could get caught out here. I'm not sure he gets away with this one. Breeday, he's switching between weapons. He's not sure. He's not comfortable, confident, but he knows that there is the potential for the push. He's just aware of logistics as well. Of course, we heard the hatch getting dropped. Mowgli times it perfectly. He gets himself one. Does he manage to get a second? He's going to take out the default camper now, but he doesn't know that Breeday's there, and Breeday says there's not going to be any more of that. Thank you very much. Mowgli taken down, and it's 4 versus 4.
Ludicrously close there as well. You just saw it in a matter of pixels that Breeday disappeared around that corner. Otherwise, Mowgli could have been lining up for a 2K, but no. Shut down there in the trade by Breeday, and for now, at least, Breeday holds on to the position he was in. That west side of the map's still going to be a big question for Wolves, and you can see that they acknowledge there is work to do. Drones have just dropped in through Lodge and are working their way out towards Breeday to help feed them that information.
Still waiting here to go, our Wolves, and you just feel like it. You know, you can almost sense that confidence just dropping out of them a little bit. They had so much speed and momentum, after those first 3 rounds, but right now they're just having to take a little pause for thought and go back to basics. Let's get the drones out. Let's make sure we're comfortable going in there, that we're not going to be getting hit on flanks. We're not going to be getting challenged right now. Breeday's still trying to work from underneath for the time being, and again, they're not aware, and Breeday gets his his man with a beautiful nitro onto Rise, and BDS have woken up.
Again, that's one of those that really could have been read into. You drone through into Jim, you saw he wasn't there. Where could he possibly have gone? You have drones on the flank. It's the sort of thing that saw Mowgli earlier on. Or information, sorry, coming in from the default cam. So I'm just looking at it and thinking, really, for BDS, I mean, for Wolves, they should have known that was coming. And again, why am I getting so confused between the teams here? It's French v French. Wolves were the ones that weren't aware that was coming, but they should have known it dropped away, and that C4 was a real threat, but didn't opt to chase him with the drone. Bibu's marched through them, and in typical Wolves fashion, they don't care about how things are stacked up on the entry and towards the site. They found their kills, but Renshiro dug in at the back has found two. Now it's Bibu left entirely alone, has got to find his one man, knows that he's here towards the right, but can he find his man? Sees him, gets a little tag, but it's not a headshot. Finally gets the finish off as well into a 3k for the round. Doesn't have the diffuser, and Playday is out of dodge. It is inside of the site. If he's quick here, he might be able to get this plant down, but he's got to move fast.
He knows that the nitro is gone, of course, being used on Rise, so Playday, he's going to have to get upstairs and try and do something about this quickly, but no, he gives the opportunity for Bibu to come off the plant, and that is going to be the win of the round for Wolves, and Playday just left it a little bit too late. That's uncharacteristic of him in those situations. Usually so cool, so calm and collected, but just a fraction of a second late, and Bibu had the opportunity to get that diffuser stuck and get back on his feet ready to fight. Beautiful play from him.
I'll give him a lean. He got those big 2K, that big 2K early in the round. The rest of his team sadly couldn't hold back Wolves when they all swarmed in towards the site. A real shame as well, because you could see that 3-3 being written in the stars, but no. Wolves with the 4-2 attack in half now move on to the defense, and this is what I've been excited to see. I commented that BDS generally play pretty static on the site itself, don't often tend to push away from it roaming. Extended holds, yes. Roams, no. For Wolves, though, I think you're going to see a different story. You got Mowgli on things like the Malusi, P4 picking up the Azami as well. Even Rise, arguably, running around, may have the opportunity here to go for some early fights too. So between the three of them, there is a real chance that they can waste a lot of time for BDS and just kind of starve them out before we even get to think about an execute.
This is going to be a very telling round, similar to the game we saw back in match 1, where I said with MNM being 4-2 down, you know, are they going to have the opportunity to starve them out, as you've quite rightly said there, Des? You know, we'll see in the next 3 minutes. It's going to be Wolves kicking us off. It's going to be Church and Arsenal downstairs. Wolves getting a lot more mobile than BDS have done previously, so there's going to be a big job for BDS here. Ranjiro, he's going to get it started with aplomb, though, as he manages to take Mowgli down with a headshot, and that is going to send a warning to the Wolves now. That's going to send them tail between their legs back towards site more than likely.
I think that was just a spray in towards CC, by the way. I think he's dead just up by the window vault that comes over from inside a garage on Catwalk. So I guess unfortunate, really, in terms of being where he was. He definitely wasn't looking for a super active fight around the window, but got bit by it all the same. P4, worth noting, by the way, one of the two entries we talk about a lot on this team. Prior to Mowgli's entry, P4 was that guy. He was the crazy man that would charge into sight and kill 3 people. In this game, he is 1-6. We've got to see him going big alongside Mowgli if they are going to push this on towards an early victory.
Liquefax managed to get himself down to the bottom of main stairs here, Des, on the knock, and he could well just walk into sight and potentially have a big impact here. P4's going to push. He's got absolutely no idea. It's a freebie for Liquefax, and that puts BDS right bang in the driving seat here on the attack. 5 versus 3. Bibu, to a degree, stuck on the top floor. I think he's got a man up there with him. There's only one on site at the minute. It's all going to be Shinka. If BDS recognise this, there's an opportunity for them to just get in there.
That's a real stinger, and this is why Nut gets banned away against so many teams. Just by default, even on some maps, it can be so disruptive. And sure, it's only 1 kill, but it's now the massive hole that leaves on the west side of the defense here for Wolves. Let's see how things shape up, though. We're down towards that last 75 seconds or so. BDS still have that numbers advantage, and Wolves have got to pull off something special.
BDS just maybe not moving quite quick enough here to take advantage of that. Bibu has the opportunity to get himself back into sight, but meanwhile, Playday has been able to get himself into a planting position, and there's absolutely no way that Wolves stop it. It will be confirmed. Liquefact, look at his position on the knock. He's just going to be using that soft wall there to keep the line of sight all the way to Molotov. Bibu cannot get back into the fight here without being shut down. It's all up to Shinka more than likely. Toxic Babe canister going out. Liquefact does exactly as expected. shuts down Bibu, prevents the rotation back into sight. Shinka, he's seeking, he's searching, he's looking, but only going to be found by Shaiko, who shuts him down, and that's going to be BDS for 3 now as they continue fighting hard against Wolves.
This is kind of what I was worried about on that side switch, like I mentioned, is that Wolves, they're not a team I kind of hold in my head when I think excellent defensive side. Attacks, yes, defense is a bit less so. And BDS back in the old day, I remember they used to be the team, especially on maps like Clubhouse, that they'd be executing with 70 seconds still left on the clock. Because they'd done everything they had to. They were ready to go, and they'd just say, right, well, why are we waiting another 60 seconds? Let's get this party started and get the show on the road. And away they go and make things happen. And what I love in that attack was, it wasn't that they executed so early. They did execute quite early compared to what Wolves have been doing, for example. But they only kept control of what they needed, and that was the east side. They didn't care about Moto. They didn't really care too much for Church. They didn't really care about main stairs. They cared far more about making sure their Planter had cover inside of Armory, and they could move forwards from there. So taking just enough ground that they could make an attack work. Really good stuff, and now this game gets spicy. Can BDS turn it into 2 or 3 attacks, or will Wolves find a way to start fighting back?
Well, this is the thing. I sort of dread to think what happens to Wolves if BDS find another 1 or 2, much like Wolves started out with a 3-0 to begin with on the attack. If BDS can emulate or replicate that, what a problem that Wolves could find themselves facing. All of a sudden they're behind, they're struggling to get a defensive round on the board, and BDS start winning the mental battle. We'll see how it pans out here on Gym and Bedroom. Interestingly, we've got the Frost brought along by Shinka this time, so keep an eye on those Frost mats. They're very easy to catch players out, even in the most obvious of positions sometimes. Underneath those windows, it's going to make it difficult for anybody to push in on the side of BDS. You usually get challenged on those windows when you come in through them. If they're going to be used as a point of ingress, it tends to be late in the round, and like I say, you tend to be getting challenged at the same time, so those two could definitely have some joy.
Likafak is that guy for BDS now, isn't he? The rat.
He really is that guy.
The Nook player. That guy. I mean, Shaiko's on Ash as well, so between the two of them, you can already see exactly what their intentions are. It's going to be terrific if he can get himself into a spot to do more damage once again. Maybe P4 is going to be his target here at top red. Not forgetting that, once again, this is an extended hold coming out here. But here comes that move that we were talking about. Goes past one of the Thorn Traps on their march in. And that's kind of Wolves saying, right, time to get out of dodge. Peace, we're done.
That's smart from Wolves, recognising Likafak's effectiveness on the knock and bringing along the Thorn to counter it, because as you saw, he was able to walk past the bulletproof camera, not going to be picked up by it, but they had that secondary option. They had that safety net, that insurance policy to make sure that he didn't creep up on anybody. They've managed to get themselves back to sight, 5 alive and ready to fight, so not looking terrible for Wolves. The one thing that is working against them at the minute, I would say, is the clock. 1 minute 15 left to go. It's an awful long time to hold on. When you hold up inside a site, you've lost the window control and you've lost the entry kill as Shaiko manages to find Rise.
Oh, Shinka there. Could have been a freebie if a little bit quicker off the shot, but no, it's a Lems, a distance to bring down P4. Finding himself now at 1 and 8. It's not the dream start you were looking for. Likafak finds one into Shinka, and it feels like BDS are really starting to tighten their grip on their enemies here as well. Mowgli may find one back, but it feels all for now as they're still sat in a 4 versus 2 team with 40 seconds to go.
Bibu manages to find a beautiful headshot through into logistics, but it's all he can do as Renshiro is there for the trade. Bibu, he manages to find 2. Surely.
Oh, was that a trade? Oh, defenders win.
He's got him.
Damn. Okay. That trade swing at the end was everything.
It was easy to lose track of what happened there, but ultimately, if you remember those frost mats that I mentioned at the beginning, well, somebody goes into one of them, I think, is what happened, and then obviously being picked up, it gave Bibu the opportunity to take one down, and it left him with only one fight to win, despite looking quite different to that. The situation was that he just needed 1 kill, and he found it. Look at him, 15 and 4.
It's ludicrous, isn't it? The scary thing is, and this is always my main frustration with this roster, back when they were known as Vitality, was it felt so up and down between some of the players. Like, you'd see Bibu have an incredible game like this, and we saw this back last stage as well. He was unbelievable last stage. But then some games, you barely know that he's in the server. And it's not to say that on other teams that's always the case, that a player is consistently at the same level. Absolutely not. but it's like you just don't know which Wolves you were going to see on any given day. Whereas I feel now when, I don't know, P4 is going 1 and 8, you've got someone else dropping double digits who normally wouldn't, for example. And when he is dropping those kills, that player settles back into a much calmer role. They've got redundancy built into the team now. It's not relying on just 1 or 2 players. Everyone can step up and go big, and that in itself was a massive clutch from Bibu, as you say. If you kind of miss what happened, he got the down, he killed one player that was being rezzed, or was the one doing the reviving, and put another player down. That was Vincere on the deck. It was then 1v1, a player swings on him, they trade kills, and the way it works, if there's no one left alive, defenders win the round, and that's exactly what you saw.
Well, that's it, because the attackers at that point can do nothing about the bomb.
Exactly.
So long as the kill comes in at the same point, there's nothing then that BDS can do about the bomb effectively, so the defenders win. And here we are, 5-3 to Wolves. They've, not surprisingly to me, taken a tactical time out there, because as much as they've won that round and they've got themselves onto 5-3, it wasn't clean, Des. They needed, I think, a minute just to say, right, we need to steady the ship here. What's going on? What's the plan? How do we move forward? Where are the problems? Because BDS, let's be honest, in the last couple of rounds, they've been bullying Wolves in a lot of the gunfights. They've been going in, they've been really, you know, getting themselves a numbers advantage. Bibu having to fight from 1v3 there to win that round is the perfect example. So Wolves deciding we just need to slow things down a little bit. We need to see what's happening. I think it's a good idea, but they're coming back with Bar and Stage, which is not going to be an easy one for them to pick up. They did have Church and Arsenal available, but instead have chosen to go for the mid floor.
Well, we've had that clutch now from either side. Elems earlier in the game. Now we've also seen it coming out of Bibu. All things are equal. Balance has been restored to the universe, and I think we're kind of where we should be at this 5-3 scoreline. As you say, that Bar and Stage pick coming out, not what you'd always expect, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. This site really has played out that you defend top floor almost as if you were defending gym and bedroom, just with nowhere near as much utility. Same as when you're doing extended hold from gym and bedroom out towards Cash and CC. But the critical thing is, all these Flores drones have been raining in from this west side, through Strip, for example, in towards Pool, blowing out soft walls, getting rid of castle barricades. So a lot of utility being directed, and time, let's not forget, by BDS on towards that Pool side. I'm not saying that this is like a false attack coming in on this top floor, but I think it at least gives them a second option to come pushing in from the west side if they feel there's far too much resistance inside of gym and bedroom.
Vincere going to be moving through, taking utility as he goes. We saw him take down just one of the proximity alarms there. We saw him clearing out a keeper barricade as well from the Azami. So doing plenty of work with that sledgehammer. LMs has been all the while working hard on the Rotero drones as well, opening up soft walls on the mid floor to allow access from Strip into Billiards. Shaiko's going to find the opener onto Rise once again. We've seen that happen previously, and this is Shaiko back on Ash, and it's starting to look terrifying. He doesn't know that there's man ratting underneath the desk. Oh. Surprise! Oh, no! What has just happened, Des?
Shaiko shagged him, Tim, and Mowgli's found 2 more on site. It's absolute insanity. And P4, that was your time to get your second kill, buddy, but just couldn't connect his shots. Look, Ash, it's a small model in the game. I get it. Like, we've all seen the frustrating things about trying to shoot an Ash, especially in certain uniforms, but blimey, that was an absolute sitter for him that he did not manage to find. BDS with a small numbers advantage. Wolves got to hold on. Do they hold on? Going to find themselves leveled up here as Mowgli manages to find a headshot onto Elems 2v2. But Bibu is going to be full white flash though, and the kills come in from Leakafak. He's been a little bit quiet so far in this game, particularly through the mid game, but manages to get the kills when they count, and that will be BDS almost leveling things up. They're back within 1 round. It's 4-5. Whew. Okay. Does it start to smell a bit like overtime at this point, Tim?
I mean, I sort of wanted coming into this game to make a joke saying at 0-0, right, it looks like we're probably going to overtime here, Des. But I thought, no, I'm not sure it's going to go that way. But here we are, unsurprisingly, like you say, absolutely staring down the barrel of it. I think BDS have got at least another attack or 2 in them here. We've already seen them win down on Church and Arsenal. It was pretty convincing from them. There was nothing much that Wolves could do. They got 2 of their roamers taken out early. We had Leakafak sneak down main stairs with the not get a couple of kills. It was just a very easy round for BDS. Understandable that Wolves haven't gone back there until this point, but BDS could well level this up here, and if they do, yeah, for my money, it's probably going all the way.
Well, time will tell. For Wolves, at least, they aren't being deterred. They are still out on the roam. Both rounds now, we've seen them making use of this mute to pull off what I'd probably call a bit of a faux SSG style roam. It's not like a mute Mozzie Vigil combo with a castle also built in, but it's still looking to go for the same principles of denying the ability for the attackers to get drones through this top floor. General thinking is you're putting down these jammers on any single doorways where drones are kind of forced to go through. Because the thing is about this map is you don't have things like drone holes going between construction and site, or in between like bedroom and master, between master and gym, for example. You do have to go through these single doorways, so they make excellent bottlenecks that really give the defenders an ability to hold the top floor. For the most part, teams will either then have to go and full clear that blind or ignore it and try and hit the site directly. For BDS, given they've got members inside kitchen hallway already and no one yet pushing the top floor, it feels like it's not so much a direct to site, but they are definitely considering, okay, how much resistance are we actually going to see on the site here? Can we just hit it and say go?
Leakerfack has tried to get aggressive again. He's on the ace this time instead of the knock, but as we spoke about previously, you know, we're not necessarily seeing ace used as a supportive role anymore. You know, Playday does still have the hard breach and the diffuser in hand. That's the role he's going to be looking for. But ace has just got some good kit. The Selmas can be valuable, decent gun, got the soft breach option as well, and we're seeing more and more players start to pick him up. Leakerfack's actually going to drop himself out of the map after that early progress. Instead, he's going to look to push in towards Dirt Tunnel. The one that they want to clear the way at the minute. He's going to be facing up to the smoke in there. It's going to be Shink trying to hold on, but he can't. As Leakerfack goes in and finds the kill with a headshot, and that's another advantage of BDS here. And look at the progress through blue. Rise manages to find Chaiko though. P4 onto Leakerfack. Wolves have got the answer, Des.
P4 was the answer. 2 kills in this round out of the 3 has got all game. A side swipe from Bibu as well. It looks so good for BDS. They have blue control, dirt control. They were swarming site at the same time together, but didn't know about P4. Sat between boxes and got himself a free couple of kills. For good measure, Elems will hack the cams, but I don't think it's going to save him in a 1 versus 3. Famous last words.
Not at all. You can see that Playday has jumped onto them. Leakerfack using those cams as well. So they are trying to make the most of that utility that's been gained. 48 seconds. Plenty of time for Elems to work with, but not plenty of life for him to work with. As Mowgli finds a nice long angle, shuts his man down into blue. Job done. Wolves, they get themselves onto match point here. 6-4. And you've got to say, for me, Des, BDS needed to go 5-5 if they wanted overtime. Wolves have guaranteed overtime as a minimum. I'm not sure BDS make it now. 2 rounds in a row, even on the attack. It's a big ask for them. It's not something they've actually achieved so far. Interestingly, so far it's gone BDS Wolves, BDS Wolves. So they haven't managed to chain rounds together. And I think Wolves might just have the legs to take this over the line.
I just checked our prediction sheet. So breaking the 4th wall, we all have to fill in a prediction sheet and our rotation, who's casting what game before the day. Had to go in there and check the predictions to see what you've gone for, Tim, but you've gone for Wolves as well.
I did.
I guess we are both on the right side. That'd be me 3-0 today, Tim.
You're doing very well. I'll be 2-1 if Wolves win this. I did get the Rogue one as well. I went for Rogue.
That first game though,
but yeah,
sucker.
Interestingly, with this one, if you remember, I picked up at the beginning and I said it's looking like we could have a complete reversal of stage 2, which was BDS starting on the attack that time around, 3-3, and then come and won 4-1 in the second half to win 7-4 overall. And right now, if Wolves win this round, it will be an exact reverse, including starting sides.
Insane, if it ends that way. That's the dream storyline we're living for them, which means, sadly, BDS have to lose this round. I'm sorry, boys. I don't write the script. Tim does.
We just want the stats. I love a good start. I love a good number. Leakerfack, he's going to get aggressive. Easy as he manages to find the kill onto Shinka. They have been punished time after time after time by that knock today, Des.
I couldn't tell then if you were saying been punished by the knock today, or you were saying, oh, just knock today in general, and I was like, hang on a minute.
No, they've been punished by the knock today. They've not had an answer, Des.
Brilliant. Cheers, Tim. Thanks. Fantastic.
I knew that you were waiting for one. Yeah, I wasn't going to do it until I could feel it.
They've been coming out all day.
I felt I disappointed you.
Like, you just haven't stopped. You're a menace. Now, this time around, it's Rise trying to push on through. It's Leakerfack put into the dust. 13-8. He now sits. Not quite the dream game he was looking for against his French rivals, but still not a bad scoreline to be having given the current scoreline. Still at a 4v3 though for BDS, it does feel like they should be able to hold on, but we've seen a couple of clutch rounds come out, which is what makes me so nervous, Tim, and those frost mats are in play once again that cost them so dearly last time.
That's it, they've only got a one-man advantage here. Wolves have stopped playing out on the roam, which they were doing earlier. They've got the 3 that they've got back to site. Mowgli is low health, which is not fantastic news for them. It's going to make things a little more difficult, and he's playing in in the real sort of crutch position at the minute. In the middle of sight, shut down by Elems, nice and easy. And that leaves us now 4v2 to BDS. This is going to have to be a big clutch coming out from Wolves, and it just gets bigger, Des, as Elems managed to find another 1 minute 20 left on the clock. Bibu can't even hope for time to help him here. First challenge. Oh, beautiful. As Bibu just slides across the window and takes Elems down 1v3. Where have we seen this before, Des?
If he gets this, Tim, he hits 20 kills as well. What a way to win the game it would be to complete that reversal. But Playday is getting this plant down. He's got Shaiko and Vincere to deal with temporarily. Takes one shot in the shoulder, and Shaiko's there for the swing. On the crouch, lean out, far too easy. They break that curse. They show that it's not going to be a perfect reversal, but they've still got one more round to do, Tim. Otherwise, Wolves still take the 3 points.
They've ruined my numbers, but I will forgive them because they've delivered us an excellent game so far. It's going to be going to bar and stage, it looks like, for Wolves to try and finish this off. They did win it back. No, sorry, BDS won it back in round 9. It's a big gamble here. Of course, they don't have Church and Arsenal available, but they do have CCTV. We haven't seen them play it yet, and that's not necessarily a criticism. I know that CCTV is not the best defensive site and hasn't been for a little while now, but it's interesting that they double down on a site that they've already lost. And not only have they already lost it, there's my other concern with this site. I picked up on it last time. It is very similar to the defense that they have just played. They're going to be looking to hold on to similar areas. They want gym, they want bedroom, they want construction, and BDS just dealt with that very, very easily. They can almost rinse and repeat the first half of the round here to come in and look for the same kills.
No echo, no party, Tim. This is just that site. We've seen so many clutches on this, not just from DPEC as well. Obviously, they won the major on this actual site. Last round of the major, they call right. We'll go into bar and stage, and they win it out thanks to a little bit of help from those Yokai drones. You've seen Kendra clutch up here. I remember Kayak clutching up here as well with the Echo. Yeah, just such a powerful operator. I'm not all trying to say, oh, you're going to lose because you haven't got the Echo, but it is that kind of site where it kind of calls on the operator being present in more cases than not. Let's see how things work, because they've still got hold of things like the Maestro. That's sort of their alternative here. Some more fixed place cameras rather than being ones that you can drive around.
Right, it's going to be on the cams for the time being, just trying to see if they can at least ascertain where the defaults have been shot out. These players are well aware of the order of the defaults. They'll watch for which order they get shot out in, and it tells them where the spawns have happened more often than not. And they can start from that to formulate the rest of the defense. Where are we going to have to face up to? Leak Effect's going for it again, Des. Look how quickly he's moving. He's going straight into construction here. He's looking for kills. He's got a drone ahead of him. Only a few feet. This is going to be a red-hot reaction. He almost challenges onto Mowgli, but no, will be pushed back and slowed down, and the game of cat and mouse continues.
That would have been the magic kill they were no doubt looking for as well. You pick off one man early in the round, like we've seen him do a couple of times in this half, completely changes the shape of the round, because you're taking that one defender offline, you've exposed a hole in the defense, they then have to turn around and cover. For now, he's going to put some focus in towards the actual bar itself, opening that up before looking himself downstairs. Often we'll see roamers, you'll have one man looking to play downstairs. Thinking about Doki back on Na'Vi, used to employ the C4 from below trick that won them a round or two throughout their adventures.
Shaiko going to be getting on the drone, still trying to pester from construction, doesn't take... Oh, what an angle, but not today, says Shaiko. He manages to spray down Mowgli, and that is an unbelievable battle. Shaiko goes again, big on the Ash, taking down Rise, and BDS, they've just got 1 foot into overtime as BDS tries to continue, but no, Shaiko's going to be shut down by P4, and then in comes another as we see a man down. It's 3 versus 1, though, as the kills shake down. Shaiko, as Claymore gets a kill from beyond the grave onto P4, and now it's all up to Shinka.
They've got 2 players completely out of sorts, though. You have one coming up main stairs, and one, as you just saw a second ago, Playday, in Narnia a little bit. So at least for a second, it was 1 versus 1 for Shinka. Not that he'd know that, and might be pressured on the door here. The plant's starting to go down. Alem sees him, walks around the corner, and BDS, they're taking us into overtime, Tim.
Honestly, I couldn't think of a better game to go the distance. We knew this one was going to be big. The 2 French giants just going toe-to-toe with each other. And are they delivering on that promise of match of the day right now? Like you would not believe, we're going all the way. Somebody is not going to be taking 3 points. It's going to be 2 points for the winner now and 1 for the loser. So they both secured themselves something at least. And it will be played out over the best of 3 rounds coming up now. So whoever can grab 2. And interestingly, Des, it's been a 4-2 split either way. It's been in favour of the defenders. No, sorry, the attackers, both sides. So BDS might just have the advantage here.
They might just nick it, Tim. They might just nick it. For Wolves, South at 6 and 4, no doubt felt they had control of the game and were the ones to walk away with the 3 points. But BDS just showing, look, we made a change. This roster, it means business, and that also includes bringing down those at the top of the table. I said it before, for Wolves and Rogue, you know, as winners of the Major or winners of last stage of EUL, you get a target painted on your back. People want to bring you down to sort of prove a point and show, no, we can tango with some of the best in Europe. But here you are kind of seeing that rise from BDS and just showing, for Wolves, it's not going to be plain sailing like the last stage.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, BDS did represent one of the 2 losses that Wolves had back in Stage 2. So, you know, it could just be history repeating itself, and it may well be the same case, and Wolves can pick up the points elsewhere and still take that top spot. But the danger that you get then, Des, is that BDS, if they win here, have won their first 2 games. So it's not about the points that you can pick up. It starts becoming about what points are BDS going to be picking up if they are back.
I was talking about this actually between to Demo and Fresh off air. I was saying, you know, after the game earlier from Outsiders, I said, you know, this is kind of their chance to think about trying to push a major. The thing where they're sort of damned almost is the timing of it, because there are so many other teams that are looking to challenge for it as well. You know, Na'Vi looked phenomenal last week. Got to see them play a little bit later on. BDS are also picking things back up. Heroic aren't looking bad despite making 2 changes. It's going to get real scary and super competitive for those top 4 spots, which is the best thing for our region, absolutely. But even when a team feels like, right, we're finally on track, it's like, great, yeah, so is every other team in EUL. Good luck, have fun.
This is it, you know, we're coming back into a Stage 3 on the back of having that major win for EU, and I don't want to get carried away, but you start feeling like, you know, Stage 2 was a little bit of a downer for EU. We were starting to get a little bit concerned, but now, you know, you're starting to almost believe that the EU might just be back here, and they're getting, as you say, more and more competitive. Now then, we're going to see the push coming into Dirt Tunnel. Shinka trying to hold on to it again. We saw Leakafak able to push in here and get the opening kill last time around, but it sort of fell apart from there for BDS. It wasn't all plain sailing from that point forward, but for the time being, Hatch is looking to be opened. It's going to be a slow process for Eleventh here, as he's going to see those Hibana pellets just taken off a couple of times with impact nades, but that is likely to be the end of it now. No, he's going to see more and more. He's not got the hatch open, and that is a problem. We've got 1 exothermic charge left on Playday, and that is going to be the only option.
That feels a little bit weird that he's chewed through everything there. I don't know if he was too keen in one of the earlier rounds and had like 4 or 6 knocked off, but ouch. Now we start to see a potential push coming in. BDS very much converged around blue, and 2 or 3 players all looking to drop in. 2 more out towards the west. You can see Thermite and Leakafak here looking to try and push their way through separately. Shaiko steps in and almost manages to find Mowgli, but still standing on his feet.
I suppose it depends if Elems has prioritised the other hatchers. We're going to see kills coming in here, though, as BDS start to work their way in. It's a big 2 for Renshiro, and that leaves us in a 4v2. Renshiro, low health. It's unlikely to matter as Playday finds Bibu, and it's now 1v4. 8 seconds left to go. Renshiro needs to get in and get that diffuser down. Elems is down, but not out, and that is not ideal for BDS, but they know that they've got Shinka locked inside a dirt tunnel. Tries to fight his way out, but Shaiko's there. Pistol in hand, says absolutely not. Puts him on black ice and puts him out of the round, and it is, as expected, advantage BDS.
That's it, that attack inside. Damn, it's so powerful in this matchup between the 2 teams. And to be fair, we had this back in our first as well. The 4-2 splits, attackers generally being the leaning ones, even on Villa and Clubhouse. For Wolves, they get this attacking round, but I'm concerned that maybe they're a little bit rattled after 3 rounds have now gone against them in a row. They've got to dig deep here, find a comfortable win, and find a way to transform their fortunes in round 15. Because right now, I ain't seeing how they do that.
It's a little bit of Caster's curse, isn't it? You know, really, coming into round 11, I commented that BDS had not been able to secure 2 rounds in a row so far, and that it was looking, you know, unlikely that Wolves had always been able to at least bounce back.
My win, yes.
Exactly that. You know, it was certainly looking that way, but then BDS somewhere, they've just dug deep. They've found another gear. I don't know, you know, necessarily where this has come from, but getting the attack to begin with on the overtime was just, you know, absolutely, that was the prize waiting for them, you've got to feel at that point, and maybe the motivation, within the team, the discussion could have been, look, if we get to overtime here, we've got attack and we can do this. So it really has driven them forward. Now they're going to be defending down in the basement for round number 14. It's going to be BDS trying to hold on to Church and Arsenal. Can they do this with style and get themselves a win on the defense to finish things off?
Silence K1A. Never thought I'd see the day. Now, with how things set up here for Likifak, is the one trying to waste a good bit of time. Drone at his feet, they have a loose idea as to where he is, but does he see the man at the window? Has really darted his way. Oh my god! Naughty! Spray through onto the soft window. Mowgli taken offline.
Get predicted. Get predicted. Simple as that. Mowgli just being absolutely read like a book there and put to sleep. Must have been a good night story because Likifak has just tucked him in nice and tight. Absolutely played him like a fiddle. And that leaves us now in a 5v4. BDS with a strong opening to round 14. Exactly what they needed. And Wolves, they're going to be scrambling a little bit here. They need to think of plan B. We know that they play from behind in terms of man count very, very well. They will work as a team to single people out, still find the advantage in gunfights, and what is a 5v4 at the minute can very quickly become a 4v3 in their favour.
And you've still got Likifak going unchecked as well. He's holding himself near the bottom of main stairs here, just not quite back on site, but holding the cheeky angle, hoping that someone steps down there feeling confident. He gets a freebie one tap and then can pull his way back on towards site. Shinga's got the drone coming in as well. Might see him now as that gadget is on recharge, but he's dipped back in towards site. Like a dancer here, Tim, just back and forth. It's like watching art at work.
Let's see if the Hibana can have more joy in getting this hatch open. We see the process begin with the impact nades going out. They still have 2 left on site, so there's still an opportunity to deal with more of them. But we managed to see 1 successful detonation of those X-Kairos pellets because Rise, he's taken matters into his own hands, got himself above and made it very difficult for anybody to play in close enough to that hatch to be able to use that explosive utility.
For now, at least, just dug in deep, and Wolves, they've done the work. They've got the hatch open. That was 1 step beyond what BDS managed to achieve, yet BDS still went on to win the round. And I remember actually back way at the very start of the game, we were like, okay, boys, we're down to the last 30 seconds. You spent 1 minute and 30 smashing this floor to pieces. There's only so many angles you can open up. Let's make it happen. When's it going to begin? And sure enough, when it all kicked off, things did get nice and explosive. And I get a similar feeling that we're going to see the same here again in the next 10 seconds.
Trying to use those vertical angles for the time being here, Wolves. The drop is going to have to come at some point, and Playday could be a big problem inside a dirt tunnel. He's just a 90-degree peak away from being able to challenge onto that drop. Damage is going to be taken by P4 and an awful lot of it. Shaiko it is who manages to get the kill from Boxers, shuts him down and puts Diffuser down in no man's land. This is all going BDS's way as Likifak finds one, Shaiko another, and it looks like they've got it closed out. 2 seconds ticks away. Shinka can do nothing this time. As BDS, they fight long, they fight hard, and perseverance prevails as they take 2 points against Wolves.
Well, you can see who the noisy characters in the room are there. Lem's absolutely ecstatic that they brought Wolves down there because this is more than just a win. Sure, it's 2 points, but the most important thing is they've shown they can beat one of the best in Europe, and BDS could well and truly be back.
Certainly could. That's the discussion that will start to happen now. Since the roster changed, they are unbeaten in EUL. We're only 2 weeks in, so there's plenty of time yet, but they are looking good. Could they be back and looking for that major spot that they missed so much in the last stage?
Yes. My only concern comes again in that so many other teams are also doing the same. Like Na'Vi have come out of nowhere and looked amazing.
I love it.
Heroic with their 2 new pickups are looking great. It's just so competitive that I even find it difficult after a couple of games to predict who's going to be there. That's the kind of stage it's going to be.
It's absolute chaos, Des. And like I say, if I have to sit down and think, oh, who's going to win this? Who's going to win? Oh, I've been wrong again. That's perfect. That's what I want. Get me wrong on predictions every time. Let's have surprises. Absolutely. And I can't wait to see what the future weeks bring for both of these 2 teams. But for BDS, as said, this could be their time to start showing that they are well and truly back. Let's go to a break. When we come back, Desk will break it down for you.